What is up, everybody? This is the Big Dog bringing a review to CollectionDX. Today we're going to be reviewing not one, not two, but three different HiYa Toys Predators from the movie Predators in around 2010, I believe. The Berserker, Falconer, and Tracker Predators. Very cool designs, and let's get these out of the...
Now that we have them out of the box, I have them each on their respective stand that they come with, and initial impressions wise, these guys look awesome. Although they have a lot of similarities, there are some key differences across each. Some of them have overlap, some of them do not, but just taking a look right here, these bases do connect together. It does incentivize you to have a full Predator team, and just looking at these right now, these look great. Especially with this display, very reminiscent of Predator 2 on a fire escape, giving a city kind of scene. And let's take a look at the accessories.
Now, starting on the left, we have the Berserker's accessories right here. We have one gripping hand so that he can hold the spine with the skull attached, and then another fist hand. These, I don't know if this is my favorite set or not. We're going to see some overlap as we go down. Next is the Tracker and the Falconer. Now, these both have the same accessories, two fists and a Predator skull. These are really cool. I'm glad I have the Predator skull. Still torn between that or the spine, and then all of them came with these H pieces. You connect these on the bottom of the bases so that they all can stick together. I don't have any other HiYa toys, so I'm not sure if they work with the Injustice or RoboCop or any of the other Alien or Predator that they've done. So we're going to take a look at Berserker first. So he has a shoulder cannon, one of the three that does. It comes up. It's on a ball peg that does pop out a little too easily depending on how much you move them. But I'm going to take that off for now so we get the head articulation. The jaw is glued on there for the helmet, but in terms of here, we have some free-floating dreads in the back. It moves side to side. It moves up just ever so slightly and down ever so slightly. We have free-floating shoulder armor and chest armor, which allow the shoulders to go all the way up to about there, a little bit above flat on each side. You have an elbow joint that goes a little beyond 90 degrees and swivels. You have an arm blade that is attached to the gauntlet, but the gauntlet does rotate if you do so wish. The hands are on a ball joint so that you can, let's see if I can get this without breaking it. There we go. Pop out on a ball peg so they can pop in and out if it'll let me. These are very small and delicate, so please be careful as you're doing it. Yeah, my gauntlet just wants to come straight off. There we go. So gauntlet sometimes gets in the way, but it does allow you to move slightly forward and back and up and down, but mostly just rotating around. Elbow is same on the other side, but my elbow joints do feel like they want to pop out. So far, so good. Nothing seems too tight. If anything, some things are just a little bit loose. Can't tell if it's my copy or just kind of the design of these overall because they're so small. You have a diaphragm joint, which lets it move side to side, which is very good. You have a waist, lets it move side to side. Really like that upper body articulation. And then in terms of the crotch, you have it on ball pegs that move out. In terms of forward and back, whoop, there's mine, popped off. As you can see there, it has a ball joint that lets you pop it right back on, but like I said, could be temperamental depending on how much you pose these guys around. So in terms of forward and back, it goes back that far and about forward that far with a twist. You have you have a double jointed knee, apologies. Can almost kick his own butt. Shout out to Robo. You have a free floating knee cover on each side. Ankles do allow rotation, but no ankle pivot or up and down. So the foot is attached. I believe it can pop on and off. To be honest, I'm not going to do it. See, even just from that, my knees are a little bit loose. But overall, like this guy, aesthetically, going into this, he was my favorite just because I love that jawbone design on the Predator. But let's take a look at the one quick note before I transition. On my Berserker Predator, I actually had the ball joint stay in the hand as I was going to change it to put the other hand on. So I think there's a way for me to do it. I may do it off camera. I may not. We'll see based on how confident I am in not breaking him. But for now, I'm going to pop him on. Maybe I'll do that after. But in terms of tight joints, I would say the joint popping off from the wrist is a little... Now taking a look at the Falconer, the exact same articulation that we saw in Berserker. The only thing missing is the shoulder cannon. This one specifically doesn't have it, but I feel like for this one, maybe it was the design or part of the armor, but I feel like I have a little more head articulation with him. Definitely get a little more side to side, definitely more pronounced down and back, so I like that initially. With the shoulders, a little bit tight, but that's a good thing, at least in my opinion, when it comes to figure. Ooh, that one's extra tight. Can get the shoulders all the way to the side, bring it down. I forgot to do this on the last one, but they do. Ooh, that's tight. They do rotate, but they're very stiff. At least my right one is. So you can rotate there, you can rotate there, you can rotate all the way up. My right one is very stiff. Might need to heat that up a little bit to have it open up, just because I'm worried I'm going to break that. So for now, let's get the elbows engaged. Got the elbows here with the swivel. Get the elbow here with the swivel. Ooh, once again, kind of tight on this one where it was loose on the last one. So still figuring things out with these. Like I said, these are my first HiYa toys that I've played with. So definitely a learning curve for me in terms of what they want to do and not want to do naturally. But let's see if this one, I'm going to take the hand off just to see if they have the same problem. Nope. So as you can see here, the ball joint remain. So I can swap the hands out. I'm not going to just because they're a fist. And if anything, I want to get this back on here so I can hold that really cool skull that we saw him with earlier. So definitely get that there. Very Shakespearean, if you will. But continuing on with the articulation, got that diaphragm joint, which I really like on these guys. Definitely a huge plus. Get that waist engaged, going side to side, feeling very smooth. Want to put these out, but I'm not going to go all the way out just because the hips. This one, armor-wise, is a little bit different. Has a thigh piece that's free-floating. The skirt is a little bit different. This thigh piece is glued on, and then the shin guards on him are connected to the boot. Still side to side there, side to side here, and a double joint on that knee as well. Ooh, my left side on this guy just really wants to stay tight and then loosen up on the bottom. So definitely recommend, just to be safe, feeling around like I am when you initially get these. Heat them up a little bit in either hot water or with a hairdryer just to make sure that you're not having joints that maybe have too much pain in them or too stiff, because the last thing we want is to break these and have to buy a replacement or just scrap them all together. But overall, this guy, articulation-wise, outside of the shoulder being a little bit tight and the knee and hip being tight, I think is awesome. Sucks that he doesn't have a shoulder cannon, but look at that helmet. Just so cool. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at our guy over here. We have Tracker. So one cool thing about him is he has these tusks on the front. Mine are a little bit warped, I think, from the packaging. Nothing a little bit of heat can't fix. And he does have a shoulder cannon, but this is attached to the chest piece. So it's free floating in the back, which is cool. Doesn't hinder articulation. But going into here, as you've seen a couple times over, a lot of the same. So his hands are fists, and he comes with the same skull that the Falconer came with. But in terms of these, let's just see kind of across the line how the stiffness is. Ooh, this guy feels a lot better. No real stiffness in those shoulders. I'm able to move them pretty freely. So far, he is the best in terms of out-of-the-box posability. Like I said, this could be a thing where it's my specific copies, or it could be across the line. Who knows? Inform your own opinion. So right here, he can do a little bit of up and down, a little bit of confused dog side to side look. And like I said, that shoulder cannon is fixed, but really cool that that's on there. That's one of my favorite things about Predators. So far, he's got the blade, which I love, shoulder cannon, which I love, and so far, the least scary articulation. So got those single jointed elbows with the swivel, got the ball joint. Now let's check if this one is going to have the joint go with the hand. It is not. Seems like it was just on my initial Predator. Oh, there we go. Now we can see it. It seems like just with that initial Berserker, he's the only one that ate the ball joint in the hand. Ooh, nice hip joints right there. Definitely feeling nice, not popping off, but just stiff enough. Got that diaphragm joint that we know and love. Got the hip rotation. Got this skirt piece, which is made of some soft goods that just really go well. They don't hinder articulation. It looks great. And then all this sculpted in molded armor, which is awesome. Double jointed knees. Let's see if they give me some problems. So far, so good. That one's stiff. This one's a little bit looser, but boom. So far, he is the best out of the box. So loving to see that. Still no articulation for the boot other than side to side. But to be honest, I'm going to keep these guys on the stand anyway, so that doesn't bother me too much. But so far, he wins for articulation. Now, giving a little bit of size comparison, here he is with a 375 Cade Skywalker, just for you 375 collectors. Moving up a level, here he is with Parzival from Ready Player One. This is from the Funko 375 line. There aren't too many figures in this, but if you're somebody like me, then you have this as well. It could definitely fit in with those. And finally up top, the Marvel Universe 375. Obviously, these guys are supposed to be a little bit bigger, closer to 4 inches in scale. So here are just some options if you already are a 375 collector and want to know how these scale with your figure. Last but not least, wanted to put him with his brethren. I have a lot of these guys. If I were to put him on a shelf, I probably wouldn't put him with my other NECA Predators, but definitely something if you're a Predator-only collector to consider. Now, final thoughts-wise, I think these guys are really cool. I think $20 is a point of contention depending on what kind of collector you are, whether this is worth it for you. For me, I normally don't dive too much into 375 except for very specific characters for, let's say, my Star Wars collection. So for me, these would normally be a pass. It was very cool to look at them. I think if you're a 375 collector or just a Predator collector, these are a cool buy. $20, I think that it's in the modern day hard to sell that just with what you get from Marvel Legends or DC Multiverse at the 7-inch scale and at the same price point. But I definitely think there is a place for these in certain people's collections and in the market as a whole. I enjoyed them. They definitely had their flaws depending on the figure. I think some of it was just happenstance and not necessarily a global QC issue with this line. But I had the ball joint on this guy stay on the wrist. I had some joints that were too tight, some that got loose very quickly, even just me playing with them on camera. So it's definitely something that I'm sure with more experience in this collection, I'll understand a little bit better. But for me, having 3 figures to try out once and all of them having those different things, I think it's not outside the norm of what we see now in collections, but definitely something to consider. So if I had to give this a number rating, I would say that just in my experience, this guy was definitely an 8 out of 10. These guys would probably be a 7 just based on some of the grievances I had in the experience. Overall, they're cool. I think that goes up or down 1 to 2 numbers depending on if you collect this line as a whole, if you collect this scale, or if you collect Predator. Obviously, if you're for those, it's going to go up a little bit. If you're not, it's going to go down. So this has been my review. I am the Big Dog. Thank you to HiYa Toys and CollectionDX for the opportunity, and I will see you guys later.